If you're like me and you love Webnovel, then you most likely have read a lot of arcs amongst a lot of novels. But have you ever posed the question, what is the best arc in all of Webnovel? Well, I have the answer for you. I think The Forgotten Shore is the best arc in all of Webnovel, and I'll tell you why. So are you ready? Let's go. The Forgotten Shore. A name whispered among the damned of the dream realm. It is a place of breathtaking desolation. A theater of ancient tragedy, a crucible where the weak are sundered under a pale, unyielding sky. And it is here that a young man named Sunny begins an odyssey unlike any other. The Forgotten Shore is an arc in the web novel called Shadow Slave by Guilty 3, and it just might be the peak of web novel. Many arcs promise adventure or power-ups. This one delivers something else entirely. A dark fantasy saga of survival, mystery, gore, and transformation. In this video, I'll make a case and while this arc is the best in all of Webnovel, why it stands as the king amongst all arcs. We will journey through the story and the ingenious craft behind it, the themes, the tone, the structure, the innovations that set it apart from every other arc on Webnovel. So if you're like me and you love dark fantasy, stick with me. First, we must descend into the dark. So little bit of context. In Shadow Slave, sleepers get infected by the nightmare spell, they go to their first trial and they get a power. After that, they are ready to undergo their first nightmare. And in their first nightmare, they're usually sent to the dream world, to a location that is at least known by humanity and face a harrowing trial. However, Sunny's case is a bit different. Sunny descends into the Forgotten Shore in an abrupt and harrowing way, a far cry from the slow starts of many fantasy arcs. As soon as he is transported there, he's drowning in a pitch black ocean, being followed by a nightmare shark. The next, he's coughing brine on an alien coast. There is no gentle introduction or safe zone here, only immediate, visceral survival. From the first seconds, the tone is set: sink or swim, fight or die. Sunny, a resourceful but cynical nobody, who barely survived his first nightmare by the way, is now flung into a far more merciless realm. Blind in the darkness and gasping for air, he claws for any foothold against the crushing waves and the nightmare shark. This isn't a heroic dive into adventure, it's raw panic and desperation. Truly, have you ever read the first arc, where the main character just is randomly spawned in the middle of nowhere like Point Nemo in the pitch black ocean, falling, gasping for air, and being chased by a fucking nightmare shark? Well, neither have I. It's bold, dramatic, and it is an opening that immediately tells us this arc will not coddle its characters or readers. The stakes aren't theoretical. And it gives you a feeling of like, oh shit, it's a struggle for survival. It's a bit Lovecraftian, you know? It's a mystery, the unknown, everything is unknown. That's why it's so good, and it's masterfully written by Guilty 3. However, running away from the nightmare shark, Sunny finds a sliver of hope. His flailing hands catch hold of something, a jagged piece of stone jutting out of the water. He climbs on, legs burning, as the unseen monster circles below. For a moment, he has life, and he seeks refuge there. But what has he grabbed? As weak, sickly dawn breaks, the black ocean ebbs. It retreats. The ocean goes away, much to Sunny's perplex. How the fuck do you say that word? And Sunny realizes that the rock saving his life isn't a rock at all. It is the severed neck of a colossal statue. Quite mysterious. With the night's retreat, a monumental shoreline is revealed. Towering statues of ancient corals line the coast as far as the eye can see, half shrouded in mist. The sight is breathtaking and terrifying in equal measure. Welcome to the Forgotten Shore. I'm sure you catch the vibe by now. At this moment, Sun is shivering on the deity stone's hand, under a sky with no sun. Grey sky. It encapsulates the arc's power. It's cinematic, otherworldly, and utter isolating. In just one chapter, we've gone from frantic action horror to awe-inspiring world building. The descent is complete. Sunny has been yanked into a realm of ruin and mystery. Most web novels would give a hero a moment to orient themselves and a guide to explain the rules. Not here. Sunny stands small, alone, beneath indifferent colossi and a pale sky, realizing no one is coming to help him. No one can save him. And as readers or viewers, we feel that loneliness and dread, and also the will for survival. This immediacy of emotion is one reason that the Forgotten Shore shines so brightly. It grips you by the throat from the start and really never lets go. And the world building, it's so peak. Sunrise on the Forgotten Shore is not a triumphant event. It's a weak, sickly glow that only reveals how hopeless the landscape truly is. As light creeps in, Sunny takes in the world around him. The beach down below is made of black sand that seems devoid of light. These colossal statues, relics of a lost age, line the coast like mournful guardians. This land is littered with the bones of a fallen civilization. Shattered obelisks, coral-encrusted ruins, half-sunken temples. In the distance, jagged cliffs and a twisted forest hints at the dangers to come. The Forgotten Shore is a character, ancient, cursed, and waiting. The world building is one of the arc's greatest strengths. The author doesn't just throw monsters at the characters, he establishes a haunting atmosphere that sets the Forgotten Shore apart from generic dungeon crawls or a progression fantasy. Every step Sunny takes inland is steeped in ominous silence. Silence becomes an antagonist here. There are no birds, no rustling leaves, only the crunch of black sand and the distant crash of that malevolent ocean. It's so quiet that you want something to happen. And when something finally happens, it's heart-stopping. As Sunny cautiously explores the shoreline, he encounters his first abomination, a creature known as the Carapace Demon. Basically a fucking huge crab with scythes. It is a hulking thing of chitin and shadow. This hulking thing of chitin and shadow bursts from underground, nearly skewering him. However, Sunny, with all of his cunning and will to survive, wields his shadow powers and manages to kill it. But not before establishing that this world wants him dead. The environment itself is hostile and alive with threats. We soon learn the broader context. Sunny is trapped in the Nightmare Realm. Compared to other web novels, The Forgotten Shore's world building is astonishingly rich and dark. Many fantasy web novels stick to the familiar settings or quickly explained game-like systems. Here, we are immersed in a setting that feels old, ancient, full of secrets. Rather than exposition, the story shows history through imagery, whether statues of builders, ancient beings who perhaps built this realm, or died here, which you will find out later. Weapons and relics with stories behind them. Crumbling castles where human survivors cling to life. Each new location on this shore conveys something that came before them, and it likely ended in tragedy. This depth of setting fuels the arc's sense of mystery and dread, elevating it far above a typical Monster of the Week scenario. Most importantly, the world building always serves the tone. The Forgotten Shore is grimdark, in the best way. Its beauty is eerie, and its horrors have weight. There is a constant feeling that the land itself remembers countless failures, and will likely consume our heroes as well. Every statue looming in the haze is a reminder that others have tried to survive here, and failed. In a lesser story, these would be just cool background art. Here, they weigh on the characters' minds and choices. Sunny can't look at these monuments and not wonder, is this my fate too? Will I be forgotten like all the rest? They are constantly plagued by oppression and doubt. This oppressive, survival-driven world sets the stage for everything that follows. It makes every victory earned, and every quiet moment feel uneasy. The Forgotten Shore's brilliance is this. It makes even the quiet moments feel wrong. You're always waiting for the next nightmare to emerge from the ruins. And so are the characters. Now, the second best part, the cohort. Sunny isn't destined to face this nightmare alone. One of the most compelling aspects of the Forgotten Shore arc is the small cohort of survivors that forms. Even the name is cool. Cohort. Never before reading this novel have I ever heard the word cohort. I found that pretty fucking cool. It's a mystery adventurous word, isn't it? The cohort that forms is a band of flawed, vibrant individuals who find each other in the darkness. In a web novel landscape crowded with lone, overpowered protagonists or one-dimensional sidekicks, Shadowslave gives us a true ensemble, each member with their own voice, trauma and dream. The relationship between them became the emotional backbone of the story. In time, when Sunny comes down from the statue, Sunny crosses paths with Cassie, a gentle, blind clairvoyant with no hopes of survival, and left a deep impression on him. They meet Nephis, the brilliant daughter of a fallen clan who will burn the whole world if it means earning their freedom. Then they in turn meet Effie, a fiery young warrior who masks her fear with bravado and humor and an endless appetite, and Kai, a calm sharpshooter with the steady resolve of a soldier. Each of these characters arrive with scars, literally and figuratively, from what they're already endured. Each brings a unique skill set to the table. Cassie's foresight, Kai's deadly aim and flight, Effie's supernatural strength, Nephis' elemental fire and unbreakable will, and Sunny's cunning and control over shadows. So basically, Sunny acts as kind of the scout and the threat detection and support, Effie is the pathfinder, Kai is the ranger, Cassie is the seer, and Nephis is the DPS, is the I'll kill you character. She can heal them as well, she's also the heal. But what sets them apart is how human they are. They doubt, they bicker, they joke to keep sane, they forge friendships slowly, under the worst circumstances imaginable. Sunny in particular undergoes a remarkable transformation through these bonds. Remember, he started as a hardened loner, a street orphan who trusted no one. On the shore, however, trust becomes survival. When he first teams up with Cassie and Nephis, battle by battle, you see Sunny's walls start to crack. He actually cares if they live or not. He listens to Cassie's soft-spoken encouragement when despair sets in. Sunny, he listens to Nephis's dry lack of social intelligence, while remaining sardonic and cautious. Sure, but you remember he's no longer fighting just for himself. He learns that to survive in the dream realm, you need others, you need to trust others. There's a beautiful scene, almost a breather episode, amidst the horror, where the group finds a brief refuge on the shore. They camp under a half-ruined arch by a quiet stretch of beach, and for once, nothing is immediately trying to kill them. They even have a hot meal, courtesy of Effie's monster hunting and cooking skills. Sunny jokingly calls it a beach episode, and wonders if he will actually be able to experience this. It feels like the light-hearted filler you'd see in an anime, completely out of place in this hell. Peace in a place built of nightmares. But it's not really peace, they're at the eyes of the storm. In this rare lull, they open up to each other. They talk about the lives they left behind, and dare to whisper about the future they yearn for. Kai admits that he wants to become a singer on a reality show. Effie fantasizes about living in luxury and eating endless cheese. Cassie, heartbreakingly, just wants to see the sun with her own eyes and spend time with her family. And Sunny? He claims he wants to open a little weapons shop and let other idiots do the dying for once. And they all chuckle. And frankly, none of them believe they'll get out of this alive to pursue any of those dreams. And that's when it hits you. This isn't camaraderie for its own sake. It's a setup for tragedy. The story makes you love these characters and their hopes, even as a voice in your head says, they're not all going to make it. The Forgotten Shore arc is so brilliant because it cultivates hope in a hopeless place. It lulls both the characters and the audience into moments of fragile optimism, only to use that hope as a weapon. They have grown together, honed into a true team. For the first time, you feel it. They move in unison, they fight with instinctual trust. They joke like lifelong friends. Nothing that stimulates friendship more than life or death struggle. They have something to lose beyond their own life now, each other. And that's how the Forgotten Shore breaks you. Not through horror, but through hope. And the procedures it takes, the arc is amazing. From the Forgotten Shore, from the beaches, to the coral maze, to the ashen barrow, to the crater, to the soul-devouring tree, that fucker, to the journey to the Dark City through the ocean, through the Dark City in search of the shards of the builders, to then conquering the Spire. It's as good as it gets, and the culmination of the arc is just perfect. One of my favorite parts, if not my favorite, is when they escape Gunlaug's Dark City and they venture into the unknown. They go through the catacombs and they go in search of a lost shard, and they encounter one of the arc's most awe-inspiring creations. To cross the ocean, they go on the Wandering Colossus. Remember those giant statues that dot the coast? It turns out at least one of them still moves. In a battered canyon strewn with coral and bones, they find a headless stone titan, half submerged in reef. This colossal statue is actually a construct of the ancient builders, designed as a vessel to traverse the dark ocean beyond the shore. Long ago, those ancient souls tried to escape these cursed lands. They failed. The Colossus never reached freedom, but it now offers a glimmer of hope to our new heroes. The automaton follows a straight path. They clamber up the Titan's body, and it goes through a journey through the ocean. And let me tell you, it's one of the best parts. It's a journey to the unknown. Even you feel excited, as if you're on top of the Titan, as you sit on its broad shoulder as it wades into the abyss, each thunderous step taking them farther from the known shore. The sky churns with ashen clouds. The waters below froth unseen terrors that they do not even have the courage to look upon. But this towering relic carries on, indifferent to all of it. In those moments, each of them feels a strange kinship with the long-dead builders who created this giant. They too were desperate to survive. The statue's journey is a masterstroke of world building and visual storytelling. It's the kind of grand, imaginative set piece you rarely see in web novels. Here we have our heroes as specks on the shoulder of a godlike construct, lit by blood-red lightning as the storm rages. It's an image that stays with you, and it serves the narrative on multiple levels. It physically carries the characters closer to their goal, it reveals lore, and it underscores the theme of hope and failure. The Colossus itself is a failed hope, a lifeboat, you may say, that never made it, a symbol that escaping the forgotten shore has always been a nearly impossible task. And as they cross to a new region, we find also one of my favorite parts, which is the cohort of the First Lord. They reach a new region next to the Hollow Mountains, another death zone, and they find the remains of the First Lord. The First Lord is one of the three lords of the Bright Castle, and the Bright Castle is a castle in which the Awakened stranded in the Forgotten Shore reside in, seeking shelter. And he was the first to have the balls to try to escape and collect the Dawn Shards, with a lot less information than Nephthys and Sunny's cohort, with less power, more fear, with no preparation, no knowledge, just sheer fucking will. And the dude was a menace, I swear. But they met a fate worse than death. But enough of that. That's another separate video, because I'll be damned if I don't make a video on the First Lord. The bulk of the arc is a series of escalating trials, each more harrowing than the last, and each revealing another facet of the arc's brilliance. This is where a lesser story might evolve into repetitive fights, but Forgotten Shore keeps things fresh and meaningful by varying the nature of the challenges. This is what I love about this. Some are battles against monstrous foes. Some are psychological ordeals. Some are the most dangerous test of all, humans turning on each other. After collecting all of the shards, they return to the Bright Castle, and they finally confront Gunlaug, the tyrannical ruler of the Bright Castle. Nephthys challenges him to a duel and bests him, almost dying in the process. Sunny protects Nephthys by fighting Gunlaug's right-hand man, which has the power to strip away sight. Luckily for Sunny, he has Shadow Sense. But remember, this isn't a victory, it's a warner. Remember what I said before, the most harrowing ordeal are other humans. The fragile order holding the survivor together collapses. Gunlaug's death creates a power vacuum, and those 5 lieutenants Sunny hadn't eliminated turn on each other, each trying to seize the throne for themselves. The survivors who supported the rebellion splinter into factions and descend into panic. The Bright Castle, once a bastion, albeit a cruel one, becomes a slaughterhouse. Former allies spill each other's blood in the courtyards. Fires rage. In a matter of hours, any sense of victory is drowned by civil war. This is an extraordinary subversion of classical trope. Through this chaos, our 5 heroes remain united. They build their party. They refuse to play the throwing game. Instead, they risk their lives to stop the senseless bloodshed. Because every year on the winter solstice, which is when the dreamers actually get transported to the Forgotten Shore, less and less humans arrive at the castle, which means the population is dwindling, and they make a plan to conquer the nightmare. And for that, they have to destroy the sun. They have to conquer an enemy way above their league, but they rather die trying than not try at all. They die slowly. That is the climax. The survivors of the Civil War, now united under Sunny and Nephis' leadership, mostly Nephis, march towards the source of the curse binding the Forgotten Shore, the Crimson Spire. When they defeat it, a nightmare portal will appear and they can go back to the real world. The Crimson Spire is a towering pillar of red luminescence that pulls against the stormy sky. I don't want to spoil it too much. It's the heart of a forbidden zone crawling with monstrosities. Whatever lies at the spire is the key to escape, and what follows is nothing short of an epic siege. Bro, the goosebumps I felt when reading this, I cannot explain this to you. You have to read it. It's the kind of massive battle that web novels often attempt, but fail. However, The Forgotten Shore and Shadowslave executed with perfection. Thank you, Guilty 3. The cohort leads a ragtag army of remaining survivors, a few hundred strong, maybe 300, across a wasteland of dried coral and bleached bones towards the spire. Immediately, a horde comes out to meet them. Abominations unlike any seen pour forth. Chitinous demons, swarms of iron spiders, towering amalgamations of flesh and shadow. It's as if the Forgotten Shore is throwing everything it has at the humans in one final attempt to break their resolve. The fight is desperate beyond belief. These people are exhausted, wounded, low on supplies, mentally shattered, and yet they are facing nightmares made of flesh. Yet, somehow they hold the line. We see every character's growth on full display here. Cassie, though blind, coordinating groups with uncanny foresight. Kai nailing creature after creature with unerring arrows, even as his quiver ran dry. Effie tanking and bracing the front line with her shield, roaring defiantly, holding the line. Sunny darting through the chaos like a shadow of death, sneaking to do a covered task inside of the spire, killing the sea. And Nephis at the forefront, blazing like a vengeful angel, rallying everyone with her mere presence. I forgot to mention that when they found the expedition of the First Lord, they found his crown. The dude is still helping the sleepers, even after his demise. His crown boosts everyone's memories up a rank. This isn't a one-on-one enemy duel, or a trivial mob fight. It's war, people die. In fact, most of them do. And those deaths adds a toll on all of their souls. Limbs are lost. Blood soaks the black earth. The narrative doesn't shield us from the carnage or the cost. I won't spoil every detail of this climax. It truly deserves to be experienced, and I know you won't forget me if I spoil you. But know that it is a white-knuckle, emotionally charged confrontation. I won't say any more because you do have to read it. And then they go back to the real world. And that is it, guys. From Sunny's first terrifying plunge into the Blackwater, through lonely nights in the ruined cathedral, gutted, through friendships forged in blood, from a tyrant overthrown, a civil war ignited, the march through the ocean, a final march against darkness itself. Every step of the Forgotten Shore is crafted with purpose and passion. This arc took everything from its characters, and in turn gave them, and us as readers, everything we crave for: purpose, camaraderie, identity, and transformation. Sunny entered the Forgotten Shore as a nobody, a coward. He left it as a warrior and a leader, someone worthy of the awe of his allies. This hauntedly and beautiful cursed land of the Forgotten Shore acted as a kind of tragic crucible and immortality through those who walked it. The people who survived the Forgotten Shore will always be renowned as the cream of the crop, as they have survived unsurvivable odds. Because in the Forgotten Shore, they are facing enemies that no mere sleeper should face. At least enemies 2 ranks or 1 rank above them. And so why is it the Forgotten Shore the best arc in all of Webnovel? If all that I just said before wasn't enough, it's because it wasn't the grandiosity of the battles, or the shock, or the twists, or even the triumph of escape that made it powerful. It was the journey of soul we witnessed. It's the way relentless cruelty gave birth to genuine compassion, how utter despair yielded unyielding hope, how the profound darkness of the shore made the light of humanity shine that much brighter. This arc dared to be brutally, honestly, and achingly human in this genre. It's the perfect dark fantasy. It's a tale of survival, brutal, bleak, but undeniably human. They survived, not unscathed, not unchanged, but alive and together, most of them. And in that world, as cold and unforgiving as that one, that's the greatest victory. And if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more videos like this one, let me know guys, I'll take care of it. See you next time guys.